So we'll go ahead now into our views.py and we're going to create the actual meal planner page one first. So we'll go ahead and get rid of this and we're going to import our template view from our Django views generic. We'll go ahead and import our login required mixin as well. So from django.contrib.auth.mixins import login required mixin, because obviously you can't have a user save if they're not logged in. So we'll go ahead and create our class. This first one's going to be called meal planner. So we will give it our login required mixin and we'll pass in our template view. Let's give that a doc string. So we'll give this one a template name, and that is going to be our meal planner folder, and that is the meal planner.html. So we'll define our get context data function. We'll pass in the self and quarks. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to get the date, okay, because we need to figure out what month we're in order to figure out how many days of the month there is. So we're going to need to import the datetime module. So we will go ahead and import datetime. So we'll then say today is equal to our datetime.date.today. So we only want the date, we don't want the time, which is why we're using date. So in order to figure out how many days are in the month, we need to use a function called month range. So we're going to go ahead and import calendar. And then we can make a variable called date in mon for the dates in the month. So we will use our calendar module. We're going to use a function called month range, and within that we're going to pass in the year and the month. So we'll use our today.year and we will pass in today.month. Now we're going to slice this, so we want to take the first index, well index 1 rather than index 0. So the reason for this is because the tuples returned from this function and the days of the month is in the second position. The next thing we want to do is create a list of all of our dates for the current month, and then we're going to pass this back to the front end so that we're able to create an accordion for each day. So we're going to go ahead now and we're going to create a list of all of the days in the month. So we'll say days is equal to, we're going to have our datetime.date. So within that date function, we're going to say today.year, today.month, and day. Okay. And then we're going to loop through the days. Okay, so for day in range, so we start at position 1 and we're going to do days in month, is that what I spelled? Days in month and plus 1. Okay, because the arrays are 0 indexed, we're going to start at 1 and plus 1, since the days of the month start at 1 and not 0. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to filter our meals. Okay, so we can order them if we want by ascending, descending, things like that. But obviously if we're having meal types, breakfast, lunch and dinner, that doesn't go A, B, C in order. So what I'm going to use is a package called reorder that is going to let us order them in a specific meal type way. So we're going to get breakfast, then lunch, then dinner for each of the records that we bring back. So we're going to go and we're going to pip install Django reorder. We'll go ahead and freeze our requirements to keep them up to date. And we will now go and import that. So from Django underscore reorder, reorder and import reorder. That is a lot of reorders. Right, so next we're going to say meals is equal to, and we're going to say meal dot objects dot filter. We're then going to say the user is equal to the self dot request dot user. So we're then going to also filter on the meal date. So the meal date double underscore in equals days. Okay, so we're just checking that that's within our meal or our days array. Okay, so we're only bringing back the records that are in the current month and the current amount of days. So we're then going to go ahead and we're going to use the order by function, and we're going to use then our reorder, and we're going to give this the meal type, and we're going to say equals, and we're going to give it a list of the order that we want them in by. So it's going to be breakfast, then lunch, and then dinner. Okay, so we also need to import that model. So from dot models, we want to import our meal. So now would actually be a good time to go into our main and register this app so that we can run our migrations. So we'll add in our meal planner here, and we'll go ahead and run our make migrations. We'll then go ahead and run our migration. So the last thing that we need to do now is we'll go back to our views and we need to return the context. So we'll create a new context dictionary, and we're going to pass back the days, and that's our days variable, and we're going to pass back the meals. And again, that's our meals, and then we can return the context. So obviously this is looking a bit of a mess, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run my black module to format this code. Okay, so we'll save that now. So we'll go into the urls.py next, and we will create our URL pattern for this. So from Django.urls, we want to import the path, and from our views, we want to import the meal planner view. We'll then go ahead and make our URL patterns. We will create a new path, and this is going to be our root for this app. We'll use our meal planner as view, and we will give it the name of meal planner. We will then go into our main urls.py. So we'll go ahead and create our new path. This will be our meal planner, and lastly include our meal planner .urls. So we're going to go ahead now and we're going to go into our profiles app, and within our profile template we are going to add a new link just so that we're able to actually access the meal planner. So I'm going to add a div around this button just because we're adding another one in now, so we want to be able to style this properly. So we've got our button in there. We will now create a new div for our anchor, and we will create an anchor with a href, and that will be for URL and we called that URL name meal planner. We're going to give this a class equals btn primary, width 25 and margin bottom 4. And we're just going to write meals. So we'll now go into our meal planner template and we will extend from our base.html. We'll give this a block title. And this will be called meal planner. We'll close off our block. We'll create our block content tags. And we'll just type test in here and verify it's working. So we'll go ahead in our terminal and we'll fire up the run server. So we'll go ahead and log in. We'll go to our profile and now we have the meals button. So when we click that, we can verify this is working.